Hey, this is Majin. Here's my comic pull list for July 5th, 2017. Hope everybody had a decent 4th of July. And let's get on with the pull. This pull does have a very special book. Now, first up is Jupiter's Legacy, issue 5. Now, I am a really big fan of Jupiter's Legacy. I am not a fan of the delay between issues, because when I started to read this issue, I was like, I don't remember what's going on here. And it took me a while until I slowly pieced everything together. But this is basically the battle issue. And there's actually some really good moments in here. The artwork is phenomenal. Quietly and Millar have done a fantastic job with this book. In this book here is the ending of the second, and there's going to be another part later. What I would recommend doing is, if you have not picked this up, pick up the trade. There's some really strong stuff in this, and it's actually kind of an interesting superhero title where it's like, there's some severe family dysfunction going on here. Overall, one of my favorites. Now, this book right here is the special book, Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Now, first of all, this cover has it has a texture to it. So that alone was like, caught my attention right from the beginning. This tale goes over Sabrina's father's origin, so to speak. It starts off with her father as a young altar boy at a, for lack of a better term, satanic temple. And he is a master conjurer. And he's promised great things if he can summon Lucifer, type thing. And I'm not gonna lie, it's a long read, but there's no ads, so it's worth. I mean, look at this art. This art is fantastic, and the story is just so solid. Let's be honest. When have we seen Lucifer ever appear in an Archie book? Never. You need to run down and pick this book up, because this book is seriously great. There is so much thought that was put into the backstory of the father, what he was like as a child, what he was like as an adult, how he got to where he got. Because I guess one thing you guys can say is the father was basically put away, so to speak, in limbo, and he comes back as Sabrina. He takes possession of Sabrina's dead boyfriend's body, and it explains the entire trip from the infancy to after he's possessed the father. It's great. This book is, oh my god, this book is so good. I mean, granted, it's not going to appeal to everybody. I think there's some people out there that are going to be very deeply offended by the imagery in this book and the subject matter. They're not going to handle it well. But again, I think that's what makes this book special, in the sense that it just is so freaking good. And yeah, while I complain this book takes forever to come out, I don't mind this book takes forever to come out, because the quality is just so high. And the story was phenomenal. I know I've repeated myself a few times, but just buy the book, and you'll be happy you bought the book. Okay, on to DC. We have Deathstroke Defiance. This is the first issue of a new, bold era. And I know I read that out of order. So, Deathstroke decides to turn good. He picks up Power Girl. You have Kid Flash, Jericho, Tara, and I forgot her name. But that's his daughter. I can't believe I forgot. Oh, Rose didn't have her eye patch. So basically, I look at this issue here as a standard. We need to start the story off, and then get people slightly caught up to speed. Give people a little bit of an origin as to who the Terminator or Deathstroke is. Give some sort of reason why these certain characters are there. Like, for example, Kid Flash, and then the story really takes off in the next issue. I don't know if I'm going to get the next issue or not. I'm torn. This is not the Deathstroke that I know and love, and he I don't care what type of awe-inspiring experience that he's gone through to change, but he just doesn't seem the same person to me, and that's what's throwing me off. So I don't know if you wanted to give it a try. Because you didn't like him being an assassin, well, now he's a superhero. So this might be the book for you. But I'll probably pick up the next issue just to check it out. Okay, Superman number 26. I think this is one of those types of issues that, in the right hands, would have been phenomenal. The way it is now, it's good, but it's not phenomenal. What the story is, you have Superman. It starts off with Superman as a young boy, and his father, Jonathan, is giving him a life lesson, so to speak. And he's struggling with his son because, the son has his own notion of how he wants things done, and he doesn't understand cause and effect, and, and Superman's trying to instill, hey, you have to do things a certain way, otherwise there's consequences. Things aren't going to work out the way you expect it to. You have to look at the bigger picture instead of just smash. And it flips back and forth occasionally. And there's some really nice dialogue between Superman and his son, and there's really nice dialogue with Clark and his father. And that's what made this issue strong. There is a little bit of fighting in here, but the fighting is it's meaningless other than to advance the relationship between the two characters. Now, where it could be better is the writing between these two characters, the son and father. While it was decent, it's not perfect. It's not 100% give you the feels type thing. To me, a lot of this dialogue is stuff we've read already. We've seen it on TV, we've read about it already, and it's just kind of, fills the bubbles. Now, I understand that, it's like kind of like, what else are you going to do? But I am telling you, maybe with more page count, you don't even need the fighting, just more page count and I think what needed to happen is there needed to be a better connection between the two characters. Now, I don't necessarily mean a connection like a strong bond. It's more about how these two characters are interacting with each other. Like for an example, right now they're still fairly new interacting with each other in a superhero capacity. So, it's like in that case when you tell, Superboy, hey, don't do that because if you destroy the main robot, then we can't follow the radio frequency back to the headquarters, so to speak. That doesn't mean as much. But if there was a stronger bond where you've had moments where they've had strong moments together, maybe moments where maybe they didn't get along as well, and then you tie in the whatever's going around them and explain cause and effect, on a more personal level. That's where I think the story is stronger. Just to give you an example, like I know most of you don't read manga, but when Naruto had just a chapter, which would have been basically one issue, to talk to his mother, that was like extremely that gave you the feels. You know, he's never met his mother because his mother died before he was born. But you had a long granted, you had a long history of him living without his parents, suffering because of that, and then he had the one chance to talk to his mom. But that's to illustrate my point, is you had a build up, and it was like one of those moments where you were waiting for, but you didn't think was ever going to happen. And while that's the extreme, that's just to show you here that they could have done it if they paced everything out differently. But it to me, they're having issues, but they're not having the issues build up to the point where you get that feels moment when they finally have that heart to heart and go, you know what, we did wrong to each other. Now we know that, we acknowledge that. Let's move on and fix it. That's what I mean. But, you know, what can you do? These comics are written on the trade cycle, so you can't waste time on deep, meaningful stories. All right, Batman number 26. This actually was really good. I guess you can say that there's three parts to it. One is the Riddler going about his evil path of getting his army together. You have the Joker, who is trying to kill Riddler, and you have Batman floating around the background. Now, I think the Joker, the way they drew the Joker was great. I really like that. They're writing Riddler smart. You know, it's like it's the different type of Riddler, because I think a lot of times when the Riddler is portrayed, he's always, laughing, riddle me this, and this is it's a lot more serious Riddler. And even the Joker, too, he's a lot more serious. And I really like the direction this book is going. At the end, I won't spoil it, but they basically say, here's the Riddler army, here's the Joker army, and then there's Batman in the middle type thing. Great. This is, I was a bit worried, but this is setting up to be a very entertaining read. Very pleased. And I got Injustice, but I haven't read it yet. But that's my pull list. Let me know what you guys picked up. There's definitely some good books. And let me know what you picked up, what you guys enjoyed. And we'll have more stuff later. I want to do a preview video, because there's some nonsense in that previous book. We'll have more stuff, so we'll watch for that. In the upcoming weeks, we'll have... and then I guess that's it. Like, share, and until next time.